Morning guys, how you doing? So I made a lasagna for the family and I made an extra one for my nan. So we're going to go and take that out to her today. We've started to deconstruct Christmas. When I say we, I shouldn't get any credit. My wife's done it all. Taking the tree down and stuff. We'll be giving that to the goats later. And we've got a load of hay being delivered as well shortly. So quite a busy morning at the moment. So we're just waiting for our hay to be delivered and then we're going to go off to my nan's who's 94 and give her some lasagna. Having a nightmare. So I couldn't find my car keys this morning. They were in the car in the ignition with the ignition turned on. The battery's gone flat, so I've got to jump start the car as well. And I've also got to move the trailer before the hay turns up. All done, up and running. Feel like a bit of an idiot for leaving my key in the car in the first place, but I do feel pretty awesome that I had jump leads and was ready to go. Wouldn't be much of a prepper if I didn't, would I? So while we're waiting for the hay, I'm just going to go and give this Christmas tree to the goats. Now they shouldn't have too many of these evergreen type trees, but a little bit every now and again won't hurt them, and this tree certainly won't. Well, you have a good scratch there, Sid. That's a good idea. Well, you've upset the girls. You shouldn't play with your food, Sydney. There's plenty of tree to go round. So I'm over at my nan's house. We just brought her a lasagna. You want to say hello?
Hello, who is it?
This is my YouTube channel. Say hello.
Hello.
She's very...
No.
Sorry?
Oh, you?
Yeah, it's just me, my family.
Oh, I get it.
Lots of people watch it though. Yeah. So I've just got a report on the Christmas dinner we brought for Nan, and it was okay, apparently. So that's my Nan, everyone. I'll catch up with you guys in a bit. So that was my Nan, everyone. And we offered to do all sorts of little jobs for her, and my wife just said, I love it how she finds it hilarious that you think you could help. You know, I offered to do bits and bobs. She's like, well, how could you possibly help, silly little boy? Bless her. Right, back home for us now. That's all the hay done. And you can see, even though they've only been in this paddock for a few weeks, you can see it's winter and we're starting to get these muddy patches. So I think next weekend I'll move their feeding station away from here, get them set up somewhere a bit different to try and just reduce the pressure on this little bit of ground here. And you can see we're using an electric fence to keep them away from those trees. My tree guards just aren't doing it, despite multiple repairs and attempts. But on the bright side, despite it being winter, this mild weather has been so warm. Look at the grass in this bottom paddock all coming back. Look at that lush green starting to come back. So it means we'll get another go, hopefully, down here this winter. So obviously it still needs a little bit longer to recover and hopefully a few more dry days. And I need to spend a little bit of time on this fence because it's more on the wonk than usual. It really is quite bendy. And I think they were just walking out over it down there. They started getting out when they were in this bottom paddock a few days before we moved them. But I suppose it's a little bit like towards the end of the time with the pigs when we were repairing fences and we were kind of doing a job that it only had to be temporary because it's only got to last a little while. Well, you know, we're only going to have goats here another 3 or 4 months. Whether we have goats in the medium term and we rehome them or rehouse them somewhere else for us, you know, we don't know. Those decisions aren't made yet, but the decision that is made is that they won't be here much longer. So we don't want to waste too much time on fencing, but equally we want them to be happy and we want to utilise the ground that we do have while we have it. So we'll just juggle and see where we end up. But that's all the hay put away. That's the only real chore I had to do today. My wife's calling me, hang on. So this is my last day off work today. Back to work tomorrow. Going to be a punishing schedule again, I think, for a few days till my brother-in-law's bathroom's all sorted. My wife has very kindly offered to help me load all my tools back into the car that have been in the house over Christmas. And then, as usual for me, as soon as I get everything done, it's about time to go in and start cooking tea. So we're juggling freezer space at the moment. You guys will probably be aware of that. So we've got a chicken out of the freezer defrosting. We've got some pork out the freezer defrosting to make room for everything else that we had in the freezer. And we've also got loads of food cooked, Chinese leftovers and a lasagna that we're cooking for dinner tonight. Got a couple of pheasants given to me by my father-in-law, which I won't let go to waste. They were shot 2 days ago, so I need to get those. We're probably just going to breast them and leg them. And then, another thing I wanted to show you down here, we've got the clay that I harvested from the coast. So we're just soaking it at the moment. And we need to break up these large clumps. If this goes well, it's something I'll do a separate video on how you can do it. But we're basically just trying to break it all down into a sludge. And then what we will do is pass it, basically the equivalent of passing it through a sieve, to sieve out all of the little bits of rock right there on my fingertip there. That's a lump of stone. And we'll basically be sieving all of that out. So it's going to be an ongoing project. I'm not sure when I'm going to have time to do all the other stages, but I will keep you abreast if you follow me as we go. It's one of the things I had a half-hearted attempt at when we first moved in, because as you'll know, we're on clay soil here and we've dug some clay similar to this out the ground here, but not quite as good as this stuff looked at the beach, which is why I harvested it at the time. Didn't go through with the whole processing of it, so we didn't get any further, but hopefully I'll get the chance to do that with this. Look, it's really difficult to tell it apart. Some of the lumps of clay feel really solid, a bit like stones, and you go to pull them out and then you realise they're just clay. But we just need to kind of break it all down a bit. There's a stone, you see, and I'll pull that one out now, but all the rest will get caught in the sieve. In fact, let me take my coat off and do this properly. Right, that's better. So I'm just trying to break up the lumps and basically form a sludge with the water. That's all I'm doing. Not very exciting, very cold on my hands, but also not very difficult. And the idea is, as far as I can make out, is you basically get it all to form this wet sludge, and then you effectively pass it through varying degrees of filters. So you might start with something like a soil riddle, the sort of thing you would use to take stones out of your soil, and then you're eventually going to get down to a cheesecloth. And then what passes through the cheesecloth, you effectively just allow to dry out. I'm simplifying it, but that is the short version of what we're doing. Well, I think I've done as much as I can do today. I've broken them all down into little tiny sludgy lumps. So we'll just let the water penetrate those last bits now. And then next time I get a chance, we'll give it a stir up and see if we can make it all form one sludgy sludge of clay. That's the plan. But look, you can see I washed my hands in the water, and the water is now full of clay, which is what we're after. And that's the clay that we're going to allow to pass through our finest membrane at the end of the process and then dry out, basically. Right, and that's it for today. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed meeting my nan, and please make sure before you go you do all those good things. Press that like button, leave me a comment down below, and if you're not already, subscribe to my channel, and I'll speak to you all really soon. Cheers.